Communication Error.
Welcome to episode 47 of Communication Error, a gaming debate podcast where we may not always agree, but if we listen to what one another has to say, maybe we'll be able to fix our communication error. I'm one of your hosts, Cheesy, and the man who will always find a way, John Ebo.
Life will find a way.
Yeah.
I do love that. Is like one of my we were watching Jurassic Park. We went to the theaters because our local theater like brought it back for one of their I forget what they call it. But
like anniversaries?
Yeah, like it's like a classic movie showing or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And we're watching it, and there are so many good lines and good moments in that, and memeable moments. So there's the big meme about Jeff Goldblum with his shirt opened, and that's like, no, he's looking pretty good.
Yeah, laying on a table, Yeah, like I wish I could do that.
So if you watch a movie, it makes no sense.
Oh no.
In context, because at that point his leg is injured, and then they just cut to him on the table with his shirt open, and it's like, that's so random. And then there's the part where Alan, the main doctor, is listening to the Triceratops breathe, and people have like taken him off the Triceratops and put him on Jeff Goldblum's chest. And it's always fun to see where memes come from. Like we talked about Community, and now I understand where all those Community memes come from. Like when the apartment's on fire, and
that's a good one.
We never watched Community, so we didn't like. I saw the meme, but I never knew the context. But now I know the context, and it's I like that. I like being like, that's the Leo,
the points at the TV.
Yep. But for memes,
yeah, I like in Jurassic Park when Alan like sees a dinosaur, and he like the way he takes off his glasses. Which I mean, like I don't know how I would take off my glasses if I. If I saw a dinosaur, but it's very dramatic, and I mean it's good. One of my like quotes that I will still say if the occasion rises, hold on to your butts.
Hold on to your butts. Yeah. Samuel L. Jackson.
Man, what a great line. That's not the magic word.
If anybody listening has not seen the original Jurassic Park, which I don't know why you wouldn't, you really need to. It holds up really well. It's 30 years old at this point. I mean, there are some things that were, a product of its time, but it honestly holds up a lot better than newer movies. Like the T-Rex scene is still so intense.
Yes.
And it's a horror movie. Like it's not like the new ones where they're kind of more lighthearted and they're not as horror. They're more actiony. And look at this new dino.
And when the velociraptors learn that they can open up the kitchen door.
Yeah.
Spooky times. But it's kind of funny that we're talking about this because this was not planned, but I still think it kind of leads into our conversation for tonight.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's crazy. But before we do that, should we get into some server maintenance?
Yeah, let's do some server maintenance. We have not received a 5-star review or any review on Apple Podcast since January 27th. It's almost been 2 months. We need somebody to write us a 5-star review.
Anything. Just like it doesn't even have to be about the show. We'll read it on the show. It just has to be 5 stars. Yeah. And we promise we won't ever talk about VR again. Though I think it's pretty cool that Sony obviously listened to our past 2 episodes because they clearly made a decision about PSVR 2, and they're no longer making them, or they're stopping production.
They're stopping production because they have too many units right now, like just sitting in a warehouse or whatever.
Yeah. So thanks, Sony, for listening to Communication Error Podcast. See, obviously, people should write reviews because we're credible in that way.
This podcast is so good like selfishly, I'm just saying it's so good. But
Uh-huh.
we had Alicia Sella on a few weeks ago,
Uh-huh.
and I told my partner, and now my partner is watching all of Theme Park Stop's videos because she's getting really excited for the new Universal Park coming out.
Yeah.
So
And
I
that's just
introduced
great,
her to that. So that was cool.
great content in general.
Yeah.
So
No, I agree. But we're just,
but yeah,
introducing
that we
people
got-
to new things.
yeah, exactly.
And we
new
get
people-
sidetracked all the time.
Yeah. So speaking of which, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, the thing that you're currently watching or maybe listening to. I don't know. All of the podcast platforms and our Discord, Error Podcast. Am I missing anything? What else? We have a Patreon.
Patreon. Yeah. And I do think we will add to the Patreon, especially because what we've learned from doing so many episodes of this show is we actually do like talking about other things that are not games.
Yeah.
So it would be kind of cool to do episodes that are non-gaming related, but maybe those will be Patreon exclusives.
Sounds good to me. And just tell your friend that you love them because they probably need the love and support. That has nothing to do with this podcast, but just do it anyway. They'll appreciate it. Johnny, what are we talking about this week?
We are talking about, honestly, I don't know the actual title, but we're talking about remakes and remasters, and I guess the cost of remakes and remasters.
Yes, and we did miss something. If you want to be a part of this conversation for next week, leave your comments, questions, anything like that for the community patch notes episode on this topic.
And I do really want to know how people feel about the price of remakes and remasters. We are Nintendo fans, so we deal with a lot of we see this like every few months, every few weeks, people talking about if their remasters and remakes are worth the price that they're charging. Specifically now, we have Luigi's Mansion 2 HD coming out, and we have Paper Mario Thousand Year Door remake coming out.
Yeah.
But I think before we get into the meat of the conversation, I did some research.
Here we go. He says he did some research. What does that mean?
I Googled remake versus remaster.
I mean,
now
the best research.
I pulled it. Hold on. I had it pulled up and I forgot.
I thought you were prepared.
No.
Okay. But this is, I just want to make sure this is research that nobody else has done, right?
No, I mean,
this is all just John Ebo.
Somebody on Google did this.
You're just reading off of a website.
But that's what research is.
Okay.
Like it's not me just coming up with it. I mean, I'm sure I could have anyway. Like it wasn't that complicated.
You work with spreadsheets every day. I'm sure you could have done something with this.
Okay, so I looked up what a remaster versus a remake is. A remaster is an improvement in the visuals of a game without interfering with the other aspects. So it's not changing any of the gameplay design. Remake is a redesign of video game while retaining its key characters and story elements. So the way I take that is like a remaster, it's just the old game, but they up-res the graphics or change the graphics a bit, but they don't change any of the core gameplay elements. A remake, they take the existing game as like a template, and then they update it for modern gameplay, modern graphics, and they probably add some stuff to it. So there you go. That's the difference between remake and remaster.
So in that sense, we should be expecting different gameplay with the Thousand Year Door.
Yeah, in theory, there should be some type of different. Because I don't know, like so, the Paper Mario series, and the whole point of the whole reason that people like Paper Mario Thousand Year Door is because of the gameplay. It's like it's not. I mean, if you played the more recent Paper Mario games, they have different types of gameplay mechanics. Like Origami King has that stupid circle thing, and Sticker Star, I don't even know what that was. It was like deck building,
Mm-hmm.
but A Thousand Year Door went back kind of to its roots, where you just have the turn-based combat. And full disclosure, I've never played Thousand Year Door.
Yeah, me neither. So I'm really excited for it. You were saying that you think people like it for the gameplay, and I think that's true, but I think they love the series for also the characters that are in it and like just how charming it is. When you think of Mario, seeing him in paper, that was just such a weird idea. And I remember their N64 ad in Nintendo Power that was like you had to cut Mario out of the page and it said free demo.
Oh,
so
that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah, you could just cut him out and then start playing with him. That was your free demo of Paper Mario.
So I know a lot of the complaints of the more recent Paper Mario is the characters in the games. They're not as unique as the Thousand Year Door, and I honestly I don't. Maybe even the original, but Thousand Year Door I think has Mr. L, and it has
that's Wii U. I'm sorry, that's not Wii U. That's Super Paper Mario.
Is it
on the Wii?
I thought he was there before, but it has more unique characters. The more recent Paper Marios just have like toads, and they're all the same. So I know like a lot of people don't like the more recent Paper Mario because of that, and also the gameplay. I don't like Origami King. That was not fun.
For me, Origami King was. I think it could have been a really good Mario game. I don't think it was a good Paper Mario game, but like it looks beautiful. Have you seen that water?
You're the water guy from the Miiverse. The water looks really good.
Yeah.
You know what?
It does look pretty good in Origami King.
I'm actually surprised. We're talking about remasters and I just mentioned the Wii U or Miiverse. So that has to do with Wii U. The deluxe versions of games, I think, would technically be considered remasters. Because they're not changing any gameplay. I think so. From Mario Kart 8 to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I don't know.
Is that a remake?
I don't think it's
they add the double items and then they add the battle mode.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I don't know what. But I know they like up-res the graphics to 1080. Because it was 720 on the Wii U. But the core game, like it's the core game is there. Like it's the same game. And then all the other deluxes like Donkey Kong, Tropical Freeze, they just added a funky mode.
Yeah.
But they didn't remake anything else. And those games, and maybe, we could get into it, but those games, they came out when the Switch started and they all cost $60.
Yeah.
And, thinking back, they were probably overpriced.
Well, for sure. I mean, Tropical Freeze was $50.
Yeah.
And then they took it off
3.
The Wii U eShop. Yeah, exactly. And then charged $60 for the deluxe versions. And we've talked about this a lot on Nintendo Powercast, which is our Nintendo weekly news show. So you should go listen to that with Crawler and N64 Josh. But I am so sick of the deluxe line. And I really, really hope that is not something that we have to ever hear for the next one. And I think the big reason that we have deluxe, like, yes, it has done really well, but nobody had a Wii U. So that's why people were buying these versions of the game, the deluxe versions, because they didn't have the opportunity to play Mario Kart. They didn't have the opportunity to play Tropical Freeze, they had the opportunity, but if they didn't have a Wii U, then this was the time to play it because now they have it on the Switch.
But is that a good reason to charge more?
No, I'm not saying
just because less people couldn't play this, so we're gonna charge you more. or even the same amount for a 5-year-old game.
So this is good because right now I think that's how a lot of people feel with Luigi's Mansion 2 and Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, is that they're both $60 games for GameCube games.
Oh,
is it worth that price? Yeah, and the 3DS. Is it worth that price? Probably not. Is it worth the experience for that price? Maybe. I mean, you and I have never played Thousand Year Door, and that's supposedly supposed to be like the best Paper Mario game. And if you go and look up Paper Mario for the GameCube right now, it's incredibly expensive. It's more expensive than $60. So I don't know. Like I am going to pay $60 to play Thousand Year Door because I've never had that experience. So for me, I think it might be worth it, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we've done an episode on like what makes a game worth full price. The thing that's holding me up, that's annoying me about these two games in particular, is why are they the same price? Like if Luigi's Mansion 2 HD is a remaster and Paper Mario Thousand Year Door is a remake, like why would they be the same price?
Mario.
Yeah, no, I understand the Mario tax and the Nintendo tax and the Nintendo Switch tax, but even Mario versus Donkey Kong, which just came out in February, that was a full-blown overhaul remake, and that was $50. I mean, I don't think it was worth $50, but like, why is that one $50 and not $60?
Yeah. I mean, I think they knew that they couldn't charge $60 for that game. They shouldn't have charged $50 for it, but it is an improvement, I guess, from the GBA. Like, it looks good. There are some new courses.
The music is fantastic.
The music is really good. The cutscenes are good too. They're actual cutscenes now, just like not just pictures.
No, I think the quality of the visuals and everything looks good. It's you know, if you want to just play the main story, it takes 3 hours. Mm-hmm. And then there's the new game plus, I guess you would call it, what has the same story, but then there's new levels. But you know, you're looking at a 10-hour experience for $50. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'll be really interested to see another aspect of it is what are people willing to pay, right? So they know people will buy these games no matter what. So we're going to buy, like I could say that I don't think that these games are worth $60 until the sun doesn't come up, but I'm still going to buy both of them.
Mm-hmm. But why?
Well, I'm a Nintendo shill and fanboy. But also I like having like all of, I think I have most Nintendo published games on the Switch. So it's kind of like collecting now. And I've never played Thousand Year Door. I know a lot of people love that game. So I am excited to try that out. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. Luigi's Mansion 2 is my least favorite Luigi's Mansion. But maybe, I don't know, maybe I was in a bad mindset when I played it on 3DS and I'm remembering it wrong.
It's a weird experience because I'm with you. I don't think that it's the best out of the three. But it's weird when you go from Luigi's Mansion 1, which is kind of spooky for kids, and like the ghosts are pretty realistic and look like human. They're like still kind of cartoony looking. But then you go from Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, or 2 for some people. The ghosts are like minions. And it just changed the whole formula of it. And then there's also more mansions. They're like themed mansions.
Yeah, I think
so it's not just one.
I think there's 5.
Yeah. And then Luigi's Mansion 3 is great, but it's not even a mansion. It's a hotel.
Yeah, and it's also $60. Like, why are they the same price?
Yeah.
And you could actually get it on, I think maybe that sale's over, but for Mario Day, you could have got it for $40.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Why? While you're pre-ordering the $60 Luigi 2 game. And then I guess on the other side of this, we have Princess Peach Showtime that's coming out, and that's a new game, and it doesn't look graphically great, but like is it allowed to have that $60 title because or $60 price because it is a new entry into?
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I mean, it's probably not going to be that long of an experience, but new Nintendo games, with the exception of Tears of the Kingdom, have been $60, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I can't think of a game that they had where it wasn't 60, like a new game. Switch Sports,
WarioWare,
yeah, WarioWare,
Kirby, what was it? Return to Dreamland Deluxe. Well, I guess that's a remake though.
and that was 60.
A remaster. I don't know.
That was a remaster, I think.
And was it 60?
It was 60, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So they definitely do use brand power. Peach is part of the Mushroom Kingdom, so
yeah,
that makes sense. But yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with paying $60 for a new game. I'm sure other people out there are like, "There's no way no way Peach is worth $60 when I could get, God of War for $60 or some other PlayStation game or." Well, now pretty much every PS5 and Xbox Series X game is 70. Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but I guess like with Peach, just going back to that real quick, it's at this point, and I guess has been, Mario is Mickey Mouse. Like that's the level of IP that Nintendo has right now, and so. It's like if you have like a Warwall painting, it's going to be full price just because of the name that's attached to it. And because Peach is also attached to that, and how well Peach was received in the Mario movie, and Peach is now at Super Nintendo World, like they're going to make a big deal about this. They're going to try to expand their audience. And I mean, like, I think $60 is also fine for this game, and I think it's going to do well, or at least I hope it does well.
Yeah, and I think honestly, if the Mario movie didn't do as well as it did, I don't think Luigi's Mansion 2 would be 60. I think it'd be 40. But
yeah, that's the upsetting part of it, right? Is that Metroid Prime Remaster, a beautifully made game, or I guess. Yeah, I mean, they made it. They went back and gave it some higher specs, but that was $40, and it's a remaster. And then Luigi's Mansion 1 and 2 should have just been a pack-in, like Pikmin 1 and 2. So, again, it's just the Mario tax of it all. But I guess when is the right time to make a remake? Because if we switch from Nintendo and go into Sony, we could talk about Last of Us. And has it been enough time for them to do a remake? And then they just released Last of Us Part 2, the remake for that.
So Last of Us Part 2 is a remaster.
Okay.
So they didn't rebuild that game. Last of Us Part 1, I think, is a remake because they built it from the ground up, or they built it for PS5 specifically. And the reason they did that, I'm sure, I mean, maybe there are other reasons, but they released Last of Us Part 1 like around the time or slightly before the show came out.
Yeah.
And Last of Us Part 2 remaster was like this January, right? So a year after. But the nice thing about Last of Us Part 2 remaster, I don't know if it was necessary, but they didn't charge you if you already owned it on PS4, you could pay $10 to get the PS5 version. So they didn't charge you full price. And I like that way of doing it. So I'm hoping, if Switch 2 comes out, I don't know if they're going to call it deluxe, but I know they're going to re-release some games. It doesn't make any sense for them not to. They want to get them back in the, like Breath of the Wild. They want to get it back into people's minds, especially with the movie coming out and.
But if it's backwards compatible, would they need a deluxe line?
Or PS5 like is backwards compatible. PS5 is backwards compatible.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't need it, but people will pay for it. I'll pay for it. If there's a, you know, a 4K, maybe not 4K, but 1080 60 version of Breath of the Wild, I would gladly pay $10 to upgrade that. And maybe they add some new outfits or new shrines or something like that. Like, I'd gladly pay for that.
Wait, hold up. Are you upgrading or are you buying a whole new game?
Upgrading.
Not a new
like
game,
upgrading.
but
yeah, I think they will. I
would do that too.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I would pay. I probably would. Like, but
yeah.
I talked myself out of it.
Yeah, we would. I mean, there's people like us that we're gonna buy if they have a separate $60, $70 SKU or an upgrade path. We're gonna buy it no matter what. So, but I don't know how many of us there are out there. I would estimate 13 million because that's how many people bought a Wii U. So, I would estimate there's 13 million diehard Nintendo fans out there that will buy whatever they release.
And that's how they'll package it too, it's the Wii U Breath of the Wild, not the Switch.
Get the gamepad functionality.
Yeah. So, but was it, just because I don't know, was the upgrade worth it for Last of Us Part 2?
For Part 2, I don't know. I haven't played Part 2, but I played Part 1, and I don't think it was worth $70. Like, you couldn't pay to upgrade. You had to pay $70 for that.
Okay.
And I mean, I agree. They shouldn't have done it so soon because you had the original on PS3, and then they had a remastered version on PS4, and now they have the remake on PS5. It is really cool to have the games on like the upgraded engines and updated graphics, gameplay, all that stuff is really good. But if you're selling us the same game multiple times, like that kind of leaves a bad taste. Like, how many times, like when the PS6 comes out, we're going to get another Last of Us Part 1 remake or remaster. Like, what are they going to do?
Again, though, I think it is the experience because it would have been cool to play the game while you are watching the series. So that $70 might have been worth it. You know, there's a lot of people that didn't know that it was a game when they were watching the series, and then they got to play it for themselves.
And that's why they do it, right? That's why they did it, because they wanted to take advantage of the hype that the show was generating. And that's why I think Nintendo is going to do the same thing with some of their games from the Switch era. Because they'll just re-release them on the new console. Like, either maybe we'll get Mario Odyssey or, you know, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. They just want to, like, these games already exist, but if they're getting new audiences from everything else they're doing, these new audiences might not know about these games, because now, like, Odyssey is what, almost 7 years old at this point. Like, it's out of people's mind. Like, when you think,
I don't know. I don't know about that. That is a very good Mario game. Like, Wonder is kind of out of my mind.
I agree. But when you think of how many Nintendo Switches sold last year, it was like 20 million or 19 million. And then when you think about how many copies of Odyssey sold, which it probably sold more than it did the year before because of the movie, but it's probably only selling like 1 million copies to those 20 million new Switches. So I think they will re-release it. They'll have a different SKU. Now, I don't know. We'll probably complain about it. We'll still buy it.
Yeah, I mean, it's already annoying how we're seeing it with the 3DS that they closed their eShop So you can't buy any 3DS games anymore. But here we are
Here's
with Luigi's Mansion 2
Yep. What else are we gonna get? The next system, like
from
I think
3DS.
from 3DS, from GameCube, like they kind of expended their Wii U library, but there are so like GameCube. I forget how many units it sold, like 20 million, maybe. Not many more than the Wii U, and it's also 20 plus
Do you
years
know?
old at this point.
Do you know why? What is like one of the reasons why?
Why? What?
Why it didn't sell that well?
Because of the disc.
That was one of the reasons. Another one is because it looked like the color purple, and a lot of people weren't happy with that.
I love that. I love the.
I think it's cool
I think
too.
the GameCube's like the coolest, one of the coolest designs that they've made. Like it's. I thought it was cool. I had the black one. I didn't have the purple.
Why didn't you get the purple one?
My parents bought it for me for Christmas.
Oh,
but yeah, I
parents
think
didn't want you to have the purple one.
yeah, I think the deluxe versions of games have opened up a whole new possibility for Nintendo. They're like, oh man, people are gonna buy these. Let's tap into our GameCube and 3DS and Wii libraries.
Which is weird because 3D All Stars had Mario 64 on it, and then how long after was it that Mario 64 showed up on the N64 app?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the one on the 3D All Stars changed the aspect ratio, and it's up-resed. So that's technically a remaster. Same with the Galaxy version on there. That's a remaster. Well, I guess all of them are remasters.
They resed them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But the so going back to like do they cost too much? I think I'm okay with remakes being like full price or whatever you want to call it, $60, $70, as long as they really, build them from scratch. Like you have the, the template of the original game.
All right, hold on though, because you just said that Last of Us Part 1 wasn't worth the full price.
Yeah, but I don't think that that's a traditional remake.
What do you mean by that?
Like they didn't change any of the gameplay. Like they didn't change any, like the story is that story. Maybe it's not a remake. It could be a remaster. I don't know.
Yeah, it kind of makes me wonder, like, do they have to go through specific rules of like, this is a remaster, this is a remake, the same way that like, the rating system works?
Yeah, I don't know.
Or
probably
is it just a title that they can just slap onto the box art?
Yeah, and then maybe are people going to question it? Who knows?
Yeah.
But I was thinking more so of Resident Evil 4 remake or the Resident Evil remakes. Like they completely break down that game and then build it from scratch again. Resident Evil 4 remake is, I want to say, completely different than the original, but it's definitely a lot different from the original. And there's also the Final Fantasy VII games. We had a remake, Final Fantasy VII remake, come out a couple of years ago, and now Rebirth just came out. Those are completely different experiences than the original. Now that one, I don't know if I agree with that, because they're splitting it into 3 games, so you're technically going to pay close to $200 when it's all said and done for a remake of one game. Mm-hmm. But they did change, I don't know why they would even call it a remake. Like, it's the same characters, but other than that, I think it's pretty different.
I think God of War is probably our best example of a remake.
Yeah, but that's not even a remake though. That was a reboot. So it's not like, so it's God of War 4 technically. Mm-hmm. So it's not like they redid the first God of War. It's the same Kratos. It's the same storyline. Like, it's just the continuation of the story. So,
but they don't call it God of War 4. They kind of did a Fast and Furious on us.
It's a reboot.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's a Fast and Furious.
It's so they could sell more, because Because when you see something that says has like a number in the title, like if it was God of War 4, people would be like, well, I haven't played the other 3, so like why would I?
You asked me about Xenoblade the other day and like why I haven't played Xenoblade, and right now you're playing Xenoblade 3,
I'm playing
loving
3,
it,
yeah.
and you think that I would like it for the story, but part of the reason is like I haven't played the first one. I haven't played the second one.
Play the first one.
I know, but
my position was Xenoblade's a good series, and wherever you start would probably be a good one. Like they all have different types of gameplay, different stories, different characters, and 1, 2, and 3 are on the Switch.
yeah,
As Xenoblade 1 has been remastered 3 times.
definitive edition, right?
Yeah,
that
because
was like
it started on the
what it
Wii.
was.
It came on the 3DS, and then now it's on the Switch.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, obviously it's not going to change. Like prices are going to go up. Games are going to get more expensive. And with, I guess, Nintendo, if it's a Mario title, and right now that's their bread and butter because it's just everywhere, it probably is going to stay that full price. But something like Metroid is just so disrespected. $40.
Nobody buys
a
that
game. Oh, but they need to play Metroid. Play Metroid. What's wrong with you? Talking to you, listener. All right, sorry. Got a little heated.
So I was listening to, or I saw a clip from the Nintendo podcast, Wolf Beat 'em Ups podcast, and he was saying something like, "Are we actually getting a deal with these remakes and remasters? Because moving into the next system, the Nintendo games are probably going to be $70. So are we actually getting it? Like now, are the remake and the remaster prices $60, where the new game prices are going to be $70?"
Huh. Oh, that's weird. What do you think?
I don't know. I don't know, because when the deluxe versions came out, they were the same price as the non-deluxe games on the Switch. So I think they'll try to get away with it when the new system comes out. They'll try to charge $70 for whatever remake or remaster they release and see how it does. But I don't know, because Peach is 60. It's hard to tell because they did one game at $70.
But I love it. I love the reason why they did it. Obviously, it was to sell vouchers. But I also think it was to ease us into like, hey, the next console, they're going to be $70 games, but we're only going to have one, and it's for a really anticipated game that everybody is wanting to play. So we know you're going to buy it, but then the rest of our catalog...
That seems sleazy.
But the rest of the catalog is 60. Like, I agree, it is kind of sleazy. But from a business, like, I don't know, tactical mindset, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah,
that the
rest,
it's definitely from there, the rest of their catalog wasn't $70. It was just that one game, just to ease people into this is the direction that we're going. But don't worry, there's still $60.
It would make
for the
it
rest
doesn't make
of the
sense.
life.
It doesn't make sense for them to charge $70 on the Nintendo Switch. It doesn't make sense
for that one game.
No, it doesn't make sense. No,
you don't. It wasn't worth $70.
No, it should have been 60.
You don't think it's the way that people were talking about it is that it's just a DLC pack? So
no. I don't think it. I think it's a great game. It's a fantastic game.
Yeah,
but why is it 70? Why is it 70? We didn't get like increased graphics from Breath of the Wild. We didn't get increased frame rate for Breath of the Wild. It's still a Nintendo Switch game.
They added the depths.
But that doesn't. No. That if it's on the same system, it should be the same price. Like the whole reason why games have increased from 60 to 70 on PS5 and Xbox Series X, they're all 60 on PS4 and Xbox One. And then it wasn't like they made a $70 game on Xbox One and PS4. They were all 60. And then when they went to PS5 and Xbox Series X, that's when they increased the price. Because they were next gen experiences.
Mm-hmm.
The Tears of the Kingdom, like that seems like the same experience. Like it doesn't seem like a next gen experience. It just seems like a sequel to a game on the same system.
It was the same experience for you?
I mean, it was a similar experience. It wasn't like, it didn't feel next gen. It didn't feel like, oh, this game like is the next generation.
Mm-hmm. No, I get that. I guess for me, it's like the way that people were talking about it is that it was just a DLC pack. So
I don't agree with that.
No. But they just added $10 onto that price tag.
Yeah, well, I think they fleeced us. I think they saw the opportunity to start charging or to charge $70 for a game that, like you said, everybody was going to buy.
Mm-hmm.
And they fleeced us. They took advantage of us. I'm actually surprised they didn't do it Wonder. They probably couldn't because it's a 5-hour game.
Yeah, I think everybody thought that is the direction that they were going to go. But again, like I like that it was only just that one game because it had people worried. From there, it was like, uh-oh, maybe this is going to be $70.
But that makes it more confusing. Like, why
that's
only
Nintendo.
one game?
Nintendo is confusing. Nintendo doesn't ever make sense.
Like, I'm trying to think of it. Well, I mean, there's literally no games coming out this year on Nintendo Switch anyway. And the only new game that we know about is Princess Peach, and that's 60.
Yeah.
Why was Tears of the Kingdom 70? Why?
Because they knew we were going to buy it.
Yeah, to fleece us. And I love Tears of the Kingdom. And I spent $500 on that game. Because I got the special edition Switch, I got the collector's edition, and I got a digital edition. Oh, and the Pro Controller.
We could torture a Koroks. That's why it was $70.
Yeah, no,
I mean, get that experience in the first one, did you, Johnny?
No. Well,
no.
Yeah, you could. You just drop rocks on their head.
I guess that's true. Yeah, you could do that.
I mean, I love Tears of the Kingdom. They are going to do this. I know you don't want it to happen, but they're going to do it. They're going to sell us Breath of the Wild again. And they might even sell us Tears of the Kingdom again. On the new system.
It's probably more likely for them to do it than when they had like the GameCube and the Wii. Like obviously those are two completely different systems that they would have to remake those games, right? That would be a remake because they would have to figure out like how the controls work.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Like Twilight Princess and
well, those are already made. They just have to put it on the system.
But is it different when it's like motion control and then just standard button control?
Probably, yeah. I would think that would be I don't know. It's confusing. Like, does controls make it a remake? Because I don't think Skyward Sword was considered a remake. Well, I guess they didn't really change. They did, but I don't think that was considered a remake. I think it was a remaster.
We're not experts, folks.
Yeah, I don't know. Let us know what a remake versus a remaster is. I just know that everybody is capitalizing on nostalgia right now.
Yeah.
Not just in video games. It's everything. Movies.
Yeah, I saw Kelsey's tweet for when you guys were watching Jurassic Park.
Yeah. What did she say? I don't even know what she said.
She said that you guys were there watching Jurassic Park, and then while you were there, there was a new trailer for the Ghostbusters movie.
Yeah. And Twisters.
Oh, and Twisters, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's not just video games. They know the people of my age, the Verdinks. Have you heard the word dink before?
No, it sounds very insulting, and I didn't know
It's
what
no, it's
came out of
not.
your mouth.
No, so dink means dual income, no kids.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's where I'm at right now. I'm a dual income, no kid millennial. I
Okay.
have expendable money, and you can see behind me all the stuff I buy.
Yeah.
And like a lot of it's nostalgia. You have the Star Wars stuff up top, and you have some Marvel, Spider-Man, and stuff like that. So it I don't know if she said this in the tweet, but after we went to see Jurassic Park, we went right to the Lego store to buy a Jurassic Park Lego set.
So it worked.
It does work. It works. So this is not going away. It's honestly going to get worse. It's going to get worse.
And I mean, the only reason that I bought Mario Kart 8, because I had it on the Wii U. Inkling was in there, and I was like, oh, all right, I guess that kind of sold me. And double items was also pretty cool too. So it added a new experience for me, even though it still is Mario Kart. You're playing the same old Mario Kart.
Yeah, I wish
And eight was already good by itself.
So you didn't like you don't like the deluxe tag, but the deluxe games I actually really enjoyed. Like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is really good with the content they added. They added battle mode, extra characters, and they had the whole DLC stuff. But even without that, like that's the kind of remasters that I would like. Not Luigi's Mansion 2 HD where they're not adding anything.
I mean, we don't know that, right?
Yeah, that we know of.
I mean, they're adding HD graphics. Scarescraper was that on 3DS?
I think so. I don't remember if it was online.
Yeah, it might have just been local.
I don't remember. It's a while ago.
The one thing that has me worried about Luigi's Mansion 2 is I loved playing Luigi's Mansion 3 with Hannah, because one of us would just be Luigi and the other one would be Gooigi. And I don't think we're going to have that same, I don't think there is couch co-op for Luigi's Mansion 2.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because that's not how it was for 3DS.
You would think that there would be, because it's called Luigi's Mansion 2.
Yeah, that would be good.
But yeah, I think you're right. I don't remember that. But if they were still releasing deluxe versions of games, I would actually kind of like it because...
like what?
I don't know. When you think of the deluxe games, Mario 3D World, they added a whole other game, essentially.
Yeah, but they don't even say deluxe on it.
They don't?
No, that one's just
it's Mario
Super
3D
Mario
World
3D World plus Bowser's Fury.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I guess New Super Mario Bros. U didn't add anything new. They added Funky Mode.
Did it add Peachette?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that one we got Peachette?
Yeah, there was Peachette. But at least they tried to add something.
They add something very minimal that's like, you don't really need to buy this game for that reason.
Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. They added Odyssey levels.
And needs to have a sequel.
You know what I thought was weird about Captain Toad? They added Odyssey levels, but then they took away 3D World levels. Like the Wii U version had 3D World levels, and they replaced them with Odyssey. Like why? Why? Why not just leave the other ones on there?
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be kind of like if they added the Odyssey levels. I thought we were gonna kind of learn how Captain Toad got all the moons for Mario and Odyssey. I thought that would have been cool.
That's in the sequel.
God, I hope so. I hope there's a sequel. We got Mario versus Donkey Kong.
Yeah, at least Mario versus Donkey Kong, they added something. So I wonder if the Paper Mario is going to add something.
Do you know what Switch game needs a deluxe version that I would be happy with? Or just a straight up sequel, if it was a sequel, Arms.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we'll ever see it because that game is terrible for marketing. You can't look up Arms on Google. You just get a bunch of gym
You
bros.
just get a bunch of arms.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Hold on. I'm going to do this.
You're going to look up Arms right now?
Yeah, on the so if you're watching on video.
Because I remember when I was posting on Instagram, I would do #arms, and man, did I get so many gym comments.
Right, hold on. Sorry, I haven't figured out like why our faces go away when I click away. All right.
Do you see what I'm seeing though?
Yeah, it's just a bunch of arms.
Yeah. So they got to do something with that.
Yeah, it's just,
And they had a character in Smash Bros. They have a Min amiibo. Like,
Yeah.
it can't be dead.
Actually, all right. So I'm looking at the Google of arms.
Okay.
So it's 1, 2, 3. The fourth picture is arms. Is arms the game?
That's pretty good.
Oh, then like
I
the
didn't-
eighth, then like a row down. Okay, like every row has an arms picture.
But is that based off of like your recent like searches for
Oh,
Nintendo?
maybe, I don't know. I guess I should check to make sure that there's no like inappropriate things on there.
So you're not doxing yourself or anything like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think there are some games that are early on, like Arms would be a good one for them to do a deluxe or just, update it or sequel. I doubt we'll get a sequel.
It's weird to me because I feel like it was the move that they needed after the Wii U because they weren't making a lot of money. And my brain right now is going to Madam Web because that did not make a lot of money. So Sony has decided that they are going to re-release all 8 Spider-Man movies throughout the year.
We actually just watched The Amazing Spider-Man.
And you'll go see it again.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, I mean, it's nostalgia bait, but now Nintendo knows it works. So why would they not do it? Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the best-selling game on the system.
No. Don't do that. Don't do that. We're getting a new Mario Kart. There's
No.
absolutely
I think we'll
no
get a new Mario
reason.
Kart, but they might do Animal Crossing New Horizons Deluxe or something,
But that one probably needs it.
or a New Leaf. Maybe they will do a New Leaf Deluxe.
The only reason that has sold me, I think it was Drew from the House of Mario podcast, said, I would love a game where my fishing pole doesn't break every 10 seconds. And that might have sold me.
I honestly forgot about the dexterity or whatever they call it in Animal Crossing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, it worked for Breath of the Wild, so let's make this cozy game be frustrating as well. Yeah, I mean, the prices of... I'm trying to think just non-Nintendo, because I feel like we're focusing on... I mean, I think a lot of people give Nintendo crap about this, and they don't even think about the other companies that do this as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like PlayStation with Last of Us, or Capcom with the Resident Evils, or
are we getting like a Fallout game with the series that's coming out?
I don't know. That comes out in like a month.
Oh yeah, that comes out like April 11th, I think.
The one remaster, I think it was, or a collection, probably the best collection now is the Halo Master Chief Collection. That that had from Halo 1 through, I want to say 4. I might be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But it was $60, and they had a complete remaster or remake of Halo 2
Mm-hmm.
in it. And it had online capability. Like, that was a phenomenal remaster or remake. It launched terribly, but now it's really good.
The other one that came to mind for me was Epic Mickey Rebrushed.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's a Wii game.
Is it a remake or remaster? No, it's a rebrush. We don't know. You
Yeah,
you figure it out.
that's a Wii game, and they're charging $60 as opposed to 50, and it's only
And not the sequel.
It's not the sequel. It's only one of them. That's the Disney brand power. I wonder how well that one's gonna sell.
Probably pretty well.
I said this before, but I don't think remakes and remasters should cost as much as their original release. Like if it was a Wii game, it shouldn't be more than $50. If it's a 3DS game, it shouldn't be more than $40.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand inflation.
Are you changing your mind on that? Because I saw that tweet. Well, but in this podcast, you've said that you think remakes are okay.
Yeah, I mean,
for that price.
I think remakes. Yeah, you're probably right. I think remakes, as long as they actually remake the game. Like, I'm okay spending $70 on Resident Evil 4 remake. That game's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played the Final Fantasy remakes, but I heard that those are complete remakes of those games and worth the $70 or $60, whatever they call it, how much it is. But Luigi's Mansion 2 just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Like, it's just an HD up-res. And I see a lot of people trying to justify it by like, oh, it's not just an up-res. They like had to change the engine. Oh my god. They had to put it on a new engine.
Yeah, I'm going to their website right now to see like if it says anything. Progress through diverse missions to retrieve the missing shards of the Dark Moon scattered across several distinct haunted mansions, each with their own puzzles to solve and ghosts to capture. Go for a high rating by using your superpowered ghost hunting tool, the Poltergeist 5000, to suck up ghosts and window curtains, and blow air to search every nook and cranny on the ceiling yet charming mansions. This spooky fun adventure, originally released on the Nintendo 3DS system, is now visually enhanced and HD on the Nintendo Switch system. Friendly ghosts turned fiendish sounds like a job for Luigi. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't sound like anything is new, though. Like, when you do look at images of the original and the HD version, there is a difference. It's not as good as Luigi's Mansion 3, but it does look better than what we got on the 3DS.
I have an image pulled up for the video watchers of the Switch, like a screenshot of the Switch versus the 3DS.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, yeah, of course it's going to look better. It better look better.
Right.
But it doesn't look that different. Honestly, I think the Luigi's Mansion 3 still looks better than this.
Yeah.
Luigi's Mansion 3 is a fantastic looking game.
Yeah, it's probably one of the best looking Switch games.
So, I don't know. This one does leave a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth.
But then if you show Thousand Year Door, that's a pretty big difference.
Hold on, let me see if I can find that.
And I think just when it comes down to this conversation in general, it's the whole you can vote with your wallet thing, but I mean, that doesn't ever work. Look at Pokemon. Pokemon makes so much money. And the remakes for that are different. I mean, like the chibi look for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, even though like maybe those games weren't the best, it's a better art style for what it was, or like, you know, they enhanced it. So in that sense, like I think that the remake is worth the price.
Yeah, I mean, I do think the Pokemon remakes, they actually do overhaul the graphics, and they do so they usually update the gameplay mechanics to be in line with the current generation.
Mm-hmm.
So like I remember the Gen 3 remakes, they had the Mega Evolutions because that's when Gen 5, no 6, Gen 6 came out with X and Y. So they do actually remake those games. It's not like it's just graphical overhaul. They do put the new mechanics and everything in there. I think BDSP sucked, like as a game. Like it was just boring. But the gameplay itself. Okay, so this one, this is really hard to tell. Hold on, let me get this up on the screen. So I have the Paper Mario original versus remake up on the screen, and it doesn't look that different.
Are you looking at the one with the house?
Yeah, the one with the house.
I think that one.
Well, no,
they're
different. In a house. They're in a house.
Oh, okay. I've seen the one that's like outside of the house, and I think lighting wise, it looks really different.
I mean, it looks clean. It looks clean, but it should, right? It should. It's a 20+ year old upgrade. Like it shouldn't look like a GameCube game anymore. It should look like a modern game. But Paper Mario, I think, is one of those games that has the art style that holds up really well because it's just like flat hand drawn. Maybe not hand drawn, but they're flat graphics. So it holds up better than a lot of these 3D games do. Like Final Fantasy VII remake looks astronomically different than the original. That's what's making it very difficult for me for these Nintendo remakes versus other company remakes. Because they're not. I think the Link's Awakening remake was better because that completely changed how that game looked. But games like Paper Mario, what are you gonna change really? You can only really up res the graphics, but they do look clean. It looks clean. I'm assuming they put it on a new engine and they probably built it from like the ground up. It looks good. I mean, it looks good. It's gonna look good, but I don't know if it looks that much better than the GameCube version.
So is it worth the $60 then?
I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot that goes into this one. There's a lot that goes into this one. So Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, like you mentioned, is very expensive on the aftermarket. It was like over $100 at some point. I think it's trending down now because of this.
Probably.
So that is beneficial for like game preservation and just people having access to it. Giving people access to this game is good. But when you have games like Metroid Prime Remastered out there where they're charging $40, like it's hard to justify.
Yeah, because it's not consistent.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, we said it earlier, we're both buying these games. And I think one is because we're Nintendo content creators, so we're going to talk about them. But then two, like Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. We've never played it. Luigi's Mansion 2, we're gonna play it because we're revisiting it to see if it is that bad, the way that we remembered it, or if it is good. I don't know. Like it's really kind of hypocritical of us to say like, oh, these games are way overpriced, but then we're still gonna buy them. Like I'm fully aware that that is the position that we're in.
But I don't know. I don't know about
And
that.
then well, but then we're kind of the part of the problem. Like,
But we should be the ones that criticize it. The fans.
but
Not outsiders. Not outsiders.
You can criticize it, but then we're still paying for it.
Yeah, but like you said, it's not going to matter. Like if we bought it, if I didn't buy this, it's not going to matter. They're still going to do another remaster or remake like this. The only thing that we can do, is voice our opinion and hope they listen to it.
After playing the game?
Yeah. So if we play it, say that it's not worth $60, hopefully somebody sees it and like, hey, maybe we should change this. I mean, that's all. Honestly, that's how I feel about Pokemon. Like a lot of people are saying, well, stop supporting Pokemon. But it's like they're still going to sell 20 million copies. Me stopping buying it's not going to do anything. All I can do is give my opinion on it. And hopefully, we might see this when the next game, when Pokemon Za comes out, Legend Za comes out. Maybe they took the feedback. Maybe they actually listened to us and they fixed it.
There's no way. That game, you think that they fixed their graphics from Sword and Shield? Or, I'm sorry, what the heck just came out? Scarlet and Violet?
It's not the graphics that sucks. It's the performance.
The graphics could use a little help too, but yes, mainly the performance.
I mean, they
it's a quick turnaround. What
is
Scarlet
it though?
and Violet came out. Yeah, it's like their normal.
It's actually it's a longer development for them. We're not getting anything this year. Scarlet and Violet came out
that we know of.
Not last week, or not last year, the year before. Right, 22.
So it's a 3-year development.
3-year development. I think that's long enough. And
I don't know. I mean, I think there's still a possibility that we get something Pokemon.
It'll probably be a remake.
Related.
Probably a remake that
Maybe.
they farmed out, so it probably doesn't matter.
But they could say it's coming out tomorrow and people are going to buy it.
Yeah.
Like they don't really need to advertise it that much.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do it though. Because they know, I mean, a lot of the feedback was that people don't want black and white yet. So, and we're not getting new gen.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they did actually skip this year. We won't know. We won't know because even, if Legend Za comes out late 2025, that will be a 3-year, almost 4-year development.
Yeah.
So I think they listened, but we won't know until the next game comes out.
I really believe that actions speak louder than words. And so, yeah, we can voice our opinion, but I don't really know how much that actually does when the action of us paying.
Well, it's just
for
like
these
not
games,
paying. It's like us not paying for games. Like how much would that do?
maybe it would do something. I don't know.
You would have to have like everybody do it.
Okay, but technically does make a difference. It does. You can't say that it doesn't.
I honestly think voicing your opinion for more people to see and hear would do a better. Like we're content creators. Mm-hmm. Our videos get thousands of views. If we say the game isn't worth $60, the thousands of people seeing that, maybe they don't buy it.
Yeah. I guess I have. I don't know. That to me is more action than it is just typing behind a keyboard. But
it is action.
yeah. No, I'm saying creating content like a video is more actionable than just typing.
I mean,
But
it's
I
the
also
same thing.
understand that people just voicing their opinion does make a difference, and like
how
that is
many people do you think Stealth sways when he tweets? A lot.
a ton. Yeah.
So it is beneficial for us to give our opinion.
Yeah. Also, we're voicing our opinion on this podcast.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I just think.
And we got to fight the pirates. They're,
Uh-huh.
we have to buy at least 2 copies of everything to
You want to
cancel
go down
out.
this road?
Got to cancel out the pirated copies.
All right. Well,
I don't care anymore. Whatever.
Johnny, it's been nice to have you on the podcast.
We are
your closing. Yeah. What are your closing thoughts?
So I think remasters are definitely overpriced if they're more than the original game cost. Remakes, I think it depends on the amount of work that goes into it, and then some outlying factors like the ease of access and aftermarket prices.
How much did Prime cost on GameCube?
50.
Was it 50?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure all GameCube games were 50.
And then they made the remaster for 40.
Yeah. But I think that was just to try to sell that game. Because nobody buys it.
I mean, I hope. I don't know. They're spending so much time on Metroid Prime 4. And that is. We still haven't seen anything on it.
No.
And like, if Metroid Prime Remaster didn't do very well, I mean, it did well for a Metroid game. Let's be honest, it did well.
It did 1 million copies. That's not well.
That is very well for
No,
Metroid.
it's not.
It is
It's not.
for Metroid Prime.
The original
game
Metroid Prime sold almost 3 million copies
on GameCube.
on GameCube, and you're saying a system that has over 100 million units sold can only get 1 million? It's 5 times the amount of units. And it's not like people are saying, oh, it's just a GameCube game. People called it like they got 10 out of 10s last year. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
People don't buy Metroid.
I don't get it. I don't understand. And Jeff, if you're listening, I don't know what we have to do to get these people to play Metroidvania games. But anyway, this was a good conversation. I'm excited for our special guest next week.
Yeah, I hope I need to reach out.
Oh, okay. So I won't spoil anything there.
Yeah, we don't want to.
But I don't know. Leave your thoughts, your comments on remakes, remasters. This is obviously a pretty big topic that is going around right now. And if Nintendo is in the right to do this, if they're in the wrong, if other companies are doing it better, let us know. Johnny, where can people find you?
I'm Johnny Bo everywhere. Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok for now, and the Nintendo Powercast.
That's going to be a while. Like,
Yeah, at least it's going to be a while. Yeah, if it gets banned, it's still going to take a while.
It's probably going to take like a year or so, and there's plenty of time that can change between now and then. But anyway, you can find me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Nintendo Powercast, GZC64, CheeZyC 64. And you can't remake your life, so you might as well make it a good one.